What movie did you love as a kid and thought was the coolest thing ever made, but watching it as an adult you realize how silly and absurd it is? For me, it's Three Ninjas. This 1992 movie was all the rage and quite a big deal for early 90s kids. It was definitely riding on the popularity of The Karate Kid, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even Home Alone. In a nutshell, it's the story of three brothers who spend every summer at their grandfather's house. He teaches them ninja skills, and man, when I was like 8 years old, that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Now, the grandfather has a bit of a sordid past. He used to run a ninja dojo, but he didn't realize the guy he was doing business with to run the dojo was in fact a criminal. And he didn't realize that the students he was training were actually training to be henchmen. Now, all these years later, the dad of these three kids, aka the grandfather's son-in-law, is in fact an FBI agent. And the criminal is trying to orchestrate a very shady deal, but this aspect keeps getting in his way. So he hires these three bumbling surfer dudes to go to these kids' house and sequester them so they can be held as leverage until the deal is done. But little do these surfer dudes know, these three kids are highly skilled ninjas. And that's where the second act of this movie basically becomes Home Alone with ninjas. If you grew up with this, you'll know how popular it was. Watching it today, it is so absurd and lacks logic. By the way, if you did grow up with this film, there's a version of it you can watch for free on Amazon Prime right now. It's the international version that features 12 minutes that were cut out of the American theatrical release to ensure a PG rating. And they further define how risky some of these movies were back then, specifically action movies like this that were aimed at younger audiences. If I were to pretty much describe what this movie feels like, it's basically an action movie that perhaps was written by an 8-year-old for 8-year-olds. One way it lacks logic is that the evening these three surfer dudes come to get these kids, there's a babysitter at the house. She looks through the peephole and sees three dudes pretending to be pizza delivery guys. I mean, they look shady to begin with. And she actually opens the door for them. Not once does she think, what pizza place is gonna send three dudes to deliver one pizza? And why aren't all three of them wearing pizza delivery guy uniforms? To give you context of how popular this movie was, it was made for a budget of $2.5 million and made $29 million at the box office. When you factor in budget to box office intake, it was the most profitable film of 1992. Because in the early 90s, kids doing ninja stuff was all the rage, man. And it got not one, not two, but three sequels. But none of its sequels were even as remotely successful as this first film. I revisited all four of these movies in the last few days, and I'll tell you it was definitely a nostalgic trip, one that also reminded me how easily amused I was by movies as a kid.